Money laundering directives, when you start focusing on third-party countries, the amount of effort that's needed around the world, I think, to benchmark against various jurisdictions, and the European Union money laundering directives is definitely one of the key benchmarks for everyone, and it highlights the need for cooperation and collaboration. Public-private partnerships, I think, is absolutely critical, and there's so many different issues right now that regulators are trying to deal with in a non-traditional risk sense. I mean, financial crime is more of a traditional risk, I think, for financial institutions. A much more, I think, concentrated effort on discussing the public role with the private sector, and you'll see some initiatives.
I'll introduce the concept of a continuum. It will apply mainly to technology to enable that continuum, but when we look across our department for AML, we look at every department producing a set of intelligence that is really that golden intelligence, right? That is the source of it. That's the expertise we want to rely on, that others should leverage when they're making their risk-based decisions. And so sharing intelligence, again, at the right time with the right people, for the right processes is really important. And so if you're not doing that effectively today, it's an area I think that's worth the exploration, and it starts with data.
Just the sheer number of handoffs that take place. How many fingers are touching, a singular client profile in different areas, and many times using the same information. Continuing to build on the existing foundation in a siloed sort of way really is just creating, from an expense perspective, it's an unsustainable model.
The US AMLA, Anti-Money Laundering Act. We've had the FinCEN Advanced Notice of Proposed Rulemaking. We've got the EU AML Action Plan. We've got various economic crime plans in jurisdictions which are seeking to look at fundamental questions, fundamental system design, which is really, really welcome, because many parts of this system, struggle to demonstrate logic. What value does it have for individual regulated entities to keep expelling risky accounts for them just to re-enter the system? It provides almost no deterrence or disruptive value for a serious organized crime effort, which already has multiple accounts across multiple institutions. Now, the challenge is, can data protection stakeholders and financial crime policy stakeholders come together and take this kind of step, which is that information sharing will help us achieve a more timely, more relevant, more focused system as a whole, which will have less of a data collection footprint on society, will have more effective results, and we will be more likely to address the threats of interest to us.
For a consortium approach, I love the concept, especially in transaction monitoring. The idea of bringing banks together, and sharing information and sharing data and leveraging AI together to solve for the problem of identifying suspicious activity, especially en masse, leveraging data across banks. For a long time, many banks are using the same approach to structuring SARs as they are more complex investigations that we know are important and actionable to law enforcement. So, I think that concept of efficiency goes beyond just AI, but also how do we leverage AI, other technologies, and even just thinking about procedurally, how do we make adjustments so that our investigators will spend their time focusing on what's most important, that actionable data, to get that to law enforcement.